Just my thoughts, commentary, opinion, especially when it comes to marriage. Oh my goodness. Just because I've been married for a long time doesn't mean I think I'm any kind of expert. And even the experts on relationships, um, they will say the same thing that anybody who has had a long-term marriage has said. Like, it's hard. There are definitely times where there's this kind of cheesy quote that's like marriage is like two imperfect people and it's working and like neither one of you just don't both give up at the same time ideally, right? Like there's going to be times where one of you might want to give up, and it's like the reality of the situation is we often don't tell people the truth about marriage until they are in the thick of it. And I think that we need to have like more conversations overall. And I just really get, I know I have a chip on my shoulder about it because I myself am somebody who got married at the age of 22. Hey, Fishing Queen, how are you doing? Hi, Javier, how are you doing tonight? I'm doing pretty good. How are you, Fishing Queen? I saw this sentiment. It was so funny to me. Somebody's channel I was watching where I've seen this said a lot, where basically when this is why I wanted to talk about the advantages of marrying younger. If you do settle down, you're not gonna be as well-rounded, you're not gonna be as, like, intellectually developed. I'm sorry about that. And it's because you need to have more experiences early in life. And I made a comment, I'm like, "Can somebody explain to me why somebody isn't, like, as intellectually developed if they have had less romantic partners?" Because I hear this all the time. And the creator, the YouTuber wrote back and he's like, "Oh, I don't think it's universal, but it's just like some people it kind of like stunts their growth or something." He was really nice about it. And I was like, "Yeah, okay. I understand that completely. Some people. What I want to know is why we 100% of the time, seriously, 100% of the time seem to discourage young people from settling down. It's never like, well, some people might be able to settle down in their 20s, you know? Some people might be mature enough too and find the right person, and then, like, it's just not going to work out for other people. And so I don't want to come off as like, I think everybody should have the goal of settling down young. And then when we're talking about like what makes you a more developed, well-rounded person, what about the people who are single their whole lives? Because they choose to, or because they wanted to not be single, but they couldn't help the fact that they remained single most or all of their lives. Are they never going to be as intellectually well-rounded off as like, how does the amount of romantic partners have anything to do with my identity? But it is a thing, okay? Because it's definitely a thing in psychology. It's called identity diffusion. When somebody takes on like certain roles early in life, not everybody, but I think most experts would agree that your 20s is the most crucial period for development, for self development. So it makes sense if you are taking on the roles of a wife, caretaker, mother earlier, you might push some things to the back burner. And not everybody, though. I sincerely feel like it did not happen with me. I feel like becoming a mom made me a more well rounded, whole person. It really helped me not be as selfish as I was. I think that was something that I benefited from greatly. And you feel horrible, Fishing Queen? I'm sorry. Yeah, don't I just wanted to make sure that you weren't, I asked Fishing Queen if they were sincere with their health issues because I was just beginning to think that it was somebody kind of like maybe poking fun at me, but I really do feel for you if you're bleeding that much. Like I wouldn't wish that on anybody. Chris Newton said get married. Yeah, I got married 15 years ago when I was 22. So, small, smart decisions. Good for you. They said, I'm writing a book now. Good luck writing your book. Thank you, Danny. Blessings to you too. So, boy, I don't think anything happened to Joe Rogan. So I see the sentiment so much though. Like my whole life, especially since I did get married, like people will just rag on people for settling down. And there is a higher divorce rate, 15% higher, I believe, if you get married below the age of 25. I don't know, like everything, you find a few different statistics, but it's generally like the divorce rate for young people in their 20s is 60% compared to people that are a little bit older, it's 45%. So it's not like none of them ever work out. Like, would you rather try to like, oh, see, like Would you take the chance at settling down with somebody, having an extra decade or 2 with them over, like, a 15% higher divorce rate? I think a lot of people would, and it's like I can't stress it enough, I'm not trying to say everybody should get married in their 20s like me at all. I have 3 sons. Out of my 3 sons, I could honestly see maybe one of them settling down that young, and that's just, like, teenagers and, one is only 8. Like, I don't think it's for everybody, but I do think it's super interesting and a sign of the times that less and less people are ready. And you could argue that people never were really ready at a younger age. In my opinion, I feel like they were. I became a mother when I was 19 years old. Once again, not for everybody, no, not for everybody. But I feel like being that young helped me be the best mother I could be, in my opinion. The only way I could have been a better mother is if I was more financially stable. I will give you that. Like, but if we had waited, if I had gone to college and waited, I had a hysterectomy this year at the age of 38. I probably wouldn't have had 3 kids. And um, I really appreciate, oh, Fishing Queen, are you modding? Oh, hey, Gary, how are you doing? Sam Green, do you have mental health issues? Well, Sam Green, I have really bad anxiety. I know that something a lot of people say that they have, but like I have sincerely bad like anxiety intrusive thoughts. But I've worked on that a lot, especially, and I think a lot of it's like OCD coded, and I've never been like diagnosed with anything. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but yeah, I have kids on the spectrum, and I definitely think that I'm neurologically atypical, and that's not the same as a mental disorder. So I didn't mean to insinuate that, but I'm just saying, like, I definitely don't think I'm normal. And I think that maybe that does help too. Both me and my husband, we, especially after our kids were diagnosed, we both shared so many similarities, like how we felt inside and we masked it, just like being very introverted and so yeah, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, at least in our case it doesn't. So modern world is very anxious, chicken on biscuit said. Exactly, we live in such unnatural times, and we're the first people in our known history that have had so much technology. Like, think about just when I'm 38 years old. When I was like 8, 5 years old, the radio frequencies in the air compared to now, like all the Wi-Fi and radio and so I don't know 100% for sure what I believe as far as how those radio frequencies affect us. I just think like we don't really know. How could we even know for sure? And I have a really good book where this guy who was hired by the government in the 80s, I believe, to study the effects, PEMF, the fifth element of health, Bryant A. Myers, really, really good book. And yeah, so it's the kind of thing that's like all you can do is in my last live I said it's kind of like riding a wave when the speed picks up and you don't know what's going to happen, and it could be a lot of fun or you could like crash out any second and you just don't know what's going to happen. That's how I feel like all of society is right now. We're just like riding this wave and it could go either way, and all you can really do is control what's in your immediate environment, right, and enjoy the day. Hey, Mr. Carey, how are you doing? Oh, thank you so much. I didn't even think about that. You're exited my live. Was that okay? Um, it's so frustrating. Bear with me for a second, guys. I'm trying to pin a comment. So I have this buy me a coffee. Of course, just your views and comments are like more than enough, but anybody that wants to donate, I I don't know, is my screen too? I just cleaned my of it again. I cannot pin that. But you don't have to keep pinning that, Mr. Carey, but if you don't mind every once in a while, that would help. Last time I was able to do it. I am doing well today. How is everybody? Billy Kidman said, "Love you. Love you too, Billy. I love all of you." So I've never astral projected that I know of Roman the Great. No, I wish. Hey Tony, how are you doing? I used to have way more lucid dreams, and like the older I get, I rarely ever dream. But some of the dreams I had when I was younger, Like, possibly, but anyways, I don't know anything. Yeah, no, I wouldn't say yes for certain. And me and my sister have dreamt the same things, which I thought that was very interesting. I know that's not the same. How are you doing tonight, Gary? Thank you, Jesus. How are you? I am supposed to not make decisions or sign legal documents where I had a colonoscopy this morning and was under anesthesia. Mr. Carey said, "Oh, Mr. Carey." I'm glad you got that over with. I had a procedure done yesterday, because I have some tissue that needed to be cauterized, and this is in relation to my hysterectomy. I'll just leave it at that. And I had to drive to Louisville to do it, so it's like a 4-hour round trip, but I'm fine. Everything's fine. I'm grateful to have had the surgery, be cancer-free, and to have a good surgeon that I can, like, hop in there. Like, I called Monday, they got me in yesterday. Um, so anyways, and it was something I put off for weeks, which was stupid of me, and I know better. But I just like I've had so many bad incidences. Like, my hernias were misdiagnosed by several doctors. I mean, like 8 doctors didn't tell me what a hernia was. They all kept saying it was a swollen lymph node, and a few of them, I bring it up. I'd be like, the last doctor said this was a lymph node, so it was probably me influencing them sometimes. But anyways, oh, it's just so hard for me to, like, go to doctors. Like, I need to go to a dentist, and I just can't bring myself to. I've had so many bad experiences with dentists. Tony said, "I'm good. I did the same." Clap when I saw my notification that you went live. Oh, and I'm sorry, Mr. Carey, for not emailing you and giving you a heads up. Like, I sincerely didn't know for sure if I was gonna go live till, like, 9:30, and then I was rushing around. But yeah, this is something that I see so often. I can't stress that enough, and I know you guys I've seen it too. And it's like, of course, men are discouraged even more from settling down in their 20s, which is funny to me. But it's like almost like implied that you're dumb. And I've seen people literally say, and some of the stuff I watch, I don't think that would surprise you. It's like talking about misogyny and stuff. And they're like, the smartest women don't get married at all. The women that do get married, the smartest one of those, they get married after the age of 35. And I wouldn't want to put that in any young person's head. I think it's absolutely fine, and you shouldn't rush into it with the goal of settling down as soon as possible. But at the same time, like it is almost like a self-fulfilling prophecy at a certain extent. I feel like why we heavily discourage it. We're all walking, talking batteries, and you tell every young person, oh yeah, like I know Wendy Williams is a crackpot, okay, but I used to watch her a lot. She kind of made me feel like I was having coffee with a girlfriend in the morning, watching her cheesy talk show, and she would talk about this so much. And like certain people like her, they just like harp on it. It's like one of their life principles. They want to influence everybody around them to like make sure you don't settle down. And I wonder why. Why is that? I think that it might be some kind of projection, or they feel badly about the stuff that they did in their 20s. If I could take back every single person I was with before my husband, I would. And I'm not just saying that because of the high risk HPV that resulted in me getting a hysterectomy. I mean it in like the soul ties, the emotional ties you create. And it so and then it plays into like that body count thing. Like I don't think people should be shamed. I think we should all look at each other as products of our environment. Like I have a higher body count than what a lot of people would say would make a woman able to successfully pair bond. I've been um loyal to my husband. I've never cheated on my husband in 15 years of marriage, almost 20 years of being together. And so I think that people can recover and heal from a lot, but you really have to look at it in the face and see it for what it is. And me and my husband had to like go to a lot of counseling and talk about like my past together with a counselor and everything to like really unpack these things. It's not something I'd be like, oh well, it's like this is serious. How we encourage casual sex is a huge part of our downfall of our realm. That's how I feel about it. And that's not to say that you should rush into marriage just so you can have an intimate relationship, but it all needs to be taken more seriously. Like, I don't try to teach my kids, like, definitely wait until marriage. Like, I think that would be ideal. Wouldn't that be such a blessing if you waited and the woman you were with waited and you could give each other that gift? Like, that would be amazing, but it's not completely realistic in today's world. And me and my husband, we were just sent out there with hardly any guidance. I think you're giving me a hernia. I love the funny trolls like that. Oh, good morning, Kareem. How are you? Hi, Vishnu. I love you too. So we're just now I just lost my train of thought of what I was gonna say. I'm sure I'll come back to it. But identity diffusion is the real psychological term for when somebody like puts their own self development on the back burner while they are busy with other things. So I think it's very crucial. And this is one thing me and my husband have always been good about, giving each other our own space. Like we literally take shifts. We would call it our shifts. It'll be like, okay, so you sit with the kids for the next whatever, 2, 3, 4 hours, and then I'm going to take a turn. And like, even if you don't leave the house, where you know that you can do whatever you want, have your own uninterrupted time. So many mothers don't get that. So many mothers, and they work full time too. I couldn't imagine it. I couldn't imagine. These women work the same amount of hours as their husbands, and then they're doing all the domestic duties at home. And like more and more men are evolving to not be like that. I know they're not all like that. Like my husband isn't like that. He has 1 day off a week lately, and I have to tell him, like, please stop doing stuff. Like he's just that kind of person. He can't sit around all day unless he's sick anyways. But and that is such a blessing to have that. And if you have that, like I still have to like make him like go practice um GU target practice, like go do something for yourself. Like have like and if you do have a man like that in your life that's like not taking every opportunity to go do something, and see, that makes me feel bad because he should have things like going fishing with his friends. He should have his own way to decompress, his own hobbies, the things that fulfill him and make him happy. But of course, there's a line where it's too much, right? And it turns neglectful. And I think that a lot of women that find themselves in the situation where they're like identityless in their 30s or 40s, it's because they literally spent every waking hour, and that's what's so infuriating when so many people discredit. Like I get some moms are lazy, some stay-at-home parents are lazy. They're not all like me. But a lot of them are on their feet from, sun up to sundown. A lot of them are working very hard and it never ends. You never get a day off. Like you literally don't get any time off. And it's the unrecognized labor. And I see people like poking fun at it, like, oh, I just had to load the dishwasher. It took me less than 5 minutes. Boo hoo. Like I see men making fun of, like, I'll even laugh at some of the shit they say 'cause I have a sense of humor. But it's like I hope sincerely they do have a woman in their life that like does so much to keep their home safe and clean. It's one thing to have a tidy home, it's another thing to have a clean home. Having a sincerely clean home with any amount of living beings in it is a part-time job, just keeping things sanitary, And so pets, children, anybody but one other person. It adds hours onto your workload every week. Like a woman taking care of you, the man, it adds on at least 4 hours a week, and how do they study these things? I'm not saying that like 100% for sure. Hey, Billy Clancy, how are you doing this week, Billy? I do not drink moonshine. I couldn't handle any hard liquor. I used to like tequila or maybe rum. I just took her OUT at like 8:30 and she's acting. I might have to go and take my dog because she never does this unless she really has to go. You know what I mean? So let me make sure that I've gone through my notes. So basically, people are discouraging young people from settling down. Um, like, the norm should be nobody ever settles down. Do you guys agree with me, or is it just a chip on my shoulder I have as somebody that married at the age of 22, 15 years ago? It's like, "Oh, no." They act like the divorce rate is, like, 95% for people that get married in their 20s. I'm like, 15% is significant statistically, don't get me wrong, it's 15% greater, than their peers that are, like, 5 years older. I think the goal should be to prepare young people, and like I said, like, you can kind of tell when somebody is like young, but mature for their age, and like probably might be the kind of person like tell them it's okay to settle down. You know what? No matter what anybody tells you, it is okay to settle down. And actually, that might be life's greatest blessing for you if you find the person you want to settle down with young. Don't don't walk away from that just because your whole life you were given these messages that is like absolutely asinine to settle down in your 20s. I think most of us would love that, right? And once again, women more so than men. Like I get it. Like, but at the same time, that's one thing that I thought was awesome about Charlie Kirk. He's the only man I've ever seen. that wasn't like an evangelical, like seriously, only man I've ever seen that like went around discouraging men and said it's unhealthy mentally and physically. Sleeping around is not good for you. It's not healthy for you. We need to quit putting these messages in men's heads that like, oh, it's just your psychology, it's just your biology, it's just your drive. But meanwhile, they can't stand the fact that women prefer tall men. What, that's just her biology. She just wanted caveman that could block the entrance to the cave better, back in the day. And shorter men are actually married more and have like longer marriages. So I was joking about that anyways. But identity diffusion is a psychological term where a person adopts roles early in life that cause them to lose sight of their own aspirations and can cause what people are talking about might happen whenever people talk about people settling down young and how that can be detrimental to one's whole life. And like the way they talk about how you're not going to be like as smart, even is super interesting to me. And I want to reiterate, I think a lot of it has to do, usually it's the woman, right? It's the woman that wakes up in her 30s or 40s and is like, I've lost my identity in my marriage and my motherhood. And it is her being burnt out, essentially. More and more men are catching up. So, like, this isn't to like sit here and be like, men are the problem. We're all the problem. Men and women are both the problem. That's like I really hope that message comes across. Like I don't ever want to make it sound like no, when I talk about women doing better in these certain things statistically, I don't look at that as a great thing. I look at that as more people getting more divided and like not like it, it is I couldn't imagine my life without my husband and our life without having all of the goals that we've set, meeting those goals together. It really is such a blessing to have a partner in life. And if you want to have children and you have children with them, it's life's greatest miracle. Like I don't understand. Um, Kitten Central. Oh, hey, Kitten Central, how are you? St. Andrew said, I banged 100 chicks and they were all POS. I'm sorry to hear that, St. Andrew. I hope you're doing well. Norma, this older man taking this little girls to McDonald's. On their oh yeah, Norma, it starts at age 11. In my opinion, around age 11. I'm not saying you're wrong about like 8-year-olds, but like me and a lot of the women I've spoken to, it's like 11 years old, and you can't leave the house without shorter men have bigger wangs too. I'm not gonna comment on that, but, I think the stats is, like, messing with women's heads, like, they get these numbers in their mind from swiping on a dating app, and, like, they get 6 foot in, like, in their head, and that didn't used to be, like, such a thing before, like, I'm sure that some women did, but it seems like so many women oh my gosh, I wanna make a video, you guys watch Shoe on Head? Like, I've said this a few times before, I know the written adult media content for women is like, but I had no idea. I had no idea it's like bestiality. They're fantasizing about bestiality, seriously. And like now I understand why men said that was worse. Oh my gosh. Like if men had these books that were talking about like getting with giant cow like women, like, we would all be seeing it for what it was, right? This is a kinda double standard that, like, I'll call out all double standards. There's a lot of them. We need to quit infantilizing women and allowing them to get away with things that we wouldn't allow the male to get away with. And that's another reason why I just don't like the gender roles, like, being so rigid with gender roles because like, I just put myself in my husband's shoes. Is it right or wrong for either person to be doing it to another? Like it's not about gender roles. Like we're all human beings. And if it's right, it's right. If it's wrong, it's wrong. Um, Gary, we're supposed to get a colonoscopy. Colon cancer is so serious now. If you're due to get one, I'm going to tell you as your friend, you should get one. Men and women sleeping around actually puts trauma on their brain, Susie Knight said. Susie, yes, I agree with you. And so it has been studied. Usually they just study the women though, right? When they ask about like number of previous partners and then like how happy they are in their current marriage. And once again, that's very subjective. Like you're just asking somebody on a scale from 1 to 10 or however they measured it, how happy are you? And how long is your marriage? And once again, like, and I mean this from my own marriage as well. Like, I'm no better than anybody else. That answer could change from year to year. That answer could change from month to month. It could change from day to day with some people. Hopefully, ideally, your marriage gets better and better. And I just feel like we were given such little guidance. And instead of telling young people, just go figure it out on your own and you'll figure it out with time with the AIDS, all STDs. I had both high risk types of HPV that caused like 95% of cervical cancer. I had to deal with that for 10 years. I had so many biopsies, a procedure done on my cervix, and I had to go to the doctor yesterday and get something done to my. It's never ending. No, none of that was worth like, you can say wear a condom, there's skin to skin contact most of the time, okay? Like, there's no such thing as 100% safe sex. There's just not, and we need to be honest with our young people and get them to treat their bodies like temples. There's so many people with this attitude, like they have pills for everything now, even HIV. It's so sad. And like, well, whatever, I get. But you might not know that you have it until it's done long-term damage. Or you might be fine, but you might give it to somebody and it does long-term damage to somebody you love. And it's like, oh, it's just so sad the way that people treat themselves and their bodies. And I just think that women can achieve almost anything at almost any age, except for capitalizing off of their beauty and youthful good looks. You can only capitalize off that for so long. And now with all the competition due to the internet, and it's like it's just harder than ever before for a woman to capitalize off of her looks. So Aisha Curry is somebody, I don't know if you guys know who that is. She's married to a basketball player, right? And like every few years, she comes out on interviews and starts like whining about her life. Absolutely beautiful woman. Nobody could look at her and like not think she was beautiful unless you're just like trying to be mean and nasty. And like a few years ago, around like 2019, she came out and was like, "My husband gets attention from women and like, but I just like never get attention from men, like complaining about it. Like everybody knows you're famous, married to a famous man. They're all being respectful. Like she's one of those women, and she did do it too. She's doing it right now, I guess. She would down women for showing off on social media, which I think that women that show off their bodies on social media are desperate. They're rewiring their brains with the dopamine rushes from the likes, and it's not doing anybody any good. We all have bodies, we all have boobs. Like, there's always going to be somebody who's younger and prettier and hotter than you. And like the competition among women is just exhausting. And so recently, Aisha, she came out saying like the same thing. I've lost my identity type shit. That's like, I'm sorry, the last person on this earth I feel bad for in that way is somebody who's been blessed with like a lifestyle of like the 1%, because you can I know I shouldn't be like that. I want to be like more Jesus like and like love everybody the same. I just feel less sorry for extremely wealthy people. I do. I mean, if you can afford to travel all over the world, get whatever wellness treatments you can, like take good care of yourself, you can have a private chef cooking amazing meals for you every day. You can do whatever you want with your life. What do you want? Some more strange different men going in and out, like, it was like that. No, like, I do not understand how a woman can have such a life and build a family with a man and turn around and complain on national TV. Once again, what if a man did that? Oh my god. What if a man, after, like, 15 years of marriage, was talking about how he's just, like he just found that he's lost himself in his and once again, it doesn't happen much with men. I'm saying the fact of him complaining about like how he's not happy with his life anymore as a married person. That would really hurt your spouse, right? That would hurt me if my spouse did that to me. Okay, I think I said everything that I had written down, which wasn't much. And I wanted to make sure. So now I am going to get in the chat more. My dog is like asleep, so I think she should be good. Susie said so true. She was speaking so negative about her husband and he stays respectful to her. Sad. Yes. And it kind of goes hand in hand with like it's just we get hardly any good messages about marrying young, settling down young. There are people out there that get married young and they have successful long-term marriages. It does happen. We just tend to like sit down and shut up, Like I feel like people who are short of mental health therapists, I can't stress enough. People who have been married for decades understand like it's hard and it takes a lot of work from both of you guys. There's no like secret formula to it. But I'm sorry. Yeah, she's had the ability. No, money doesn't buy you happiness, but like she can do anything she wants. And I think people like her need to go like what was that reality show on MTV where they'd like send a spoiled kid to somewhere where life was harder. I think people need to live off grid. Hey, Tim, how are you doing tonight, Tim? How was your week? Have you ever cheated in your marriage? Adrian said, no, Adrian, I've never cheated. We were separated for 13 months one time. I had my own apartment for a year, and I did date one other person during that time. So I'm honest about that. So I have been with one other person besides my husband in the last 20 years, and I severely regret that. I was in my 20s, and I was like, oh, I've been alone for so long. We had a divorce agreement written. We were about to file for divorce. Like it was like 10 months into that before I started dating this person, and I regret it, and I wish I hadn't done that. You support polygamy, Judas? And I always felt like a ball and chain, like, I kinda gave my husband the ultimatum after our second kid, like, "If you don't marry me by the time this lease is up, I'm walking," you know? Like, I'm not gonna sit here with an engagement ring on my finger, and then I always thought, like, "I wish I didn't do that, and I wouldn't recommend that," but at the same time, like, that is how I felt, and I think women should draw more clear boundaries, especially when it comes to children and marriage, and, we got married, but then after okay, so that period of separation when we were living in different states, when we decided to get back together and we did some therapy together and apart. And like when he decided to move back up to where I was like, okay, he obviously wants to be with me, right? Like maybe I gave him that ultimatum, but like several years later, he's still putting in the utmost effort. And yeah, if you want something from your spouse, I just suggest looking at yourself in the mirror. Do you do that? Whatever behaviors, actions, mindfulness you want from your spouse, like try doing it to them and be an example for them. And hopefully, it will start going in a cycle. Is it somebody's birthday? Did I miss somebody's birthday? Your hair looks great. Don't worry about it. Be you, Homer dude said. Oh gosh, my hair looked so much better earlier, and then I put it up to shower, and I was so annoyed with myself. Jacob, dogs with pet frogs, alligators with attitude problems, bank accounts with zero overdrafts. Dogs with pet frogs, that's so cute. Okay, if anybody, like if I missed anything, if you don't mind typing it again. And so yeah, I would like to make a lot more videos just on my personal perspective. Somebody who's like a stay-at-home mom in my 20s. In my opinion, the root of the problem is like overall self-development. Just people not treating children, young human adults as like real human beings that like I know this can't be possible with absolutely everything in every situation, but you can help your child prepare for so many situations, and like you have to keep having these conversations with them. Just like we repeat things in school, you have to relearn things. You have to be the greatest influence for your kid and understand they're getting the influences of others constantly. So you have to always, touch back on the same conversations and like oh, I just think it's so important to encourage people, to be whole people with or without somebody. But how many people are trying to find? And I talked to a few people that have children that are around my age that they've expressed that to me, like, "Oh, I have a daughter. She's beautiful, career driven. Owns a house. Like, she's got everything going for her. Devout person religiously, and she just cannot find a man. Like, checks off all the boxes." And I've heard the same thing with men. There was a man in my last live where one of them saying, he's built a great life for himself. Now he just wants somebody to share it with. And that's sad. I just hope that everybody that lives a good, honest life gets what they want. Hey, Bertha, how are you doing tonight? Um, Let me see. No, you didn't miss birthday. It was set up comment to. Oh no! Thank you for catching that. Fukio pronouns. You're funny, that's funny. Married 35 years, I'm 43. My kids are 25, 30, 32. I look younger than my kids. Oh, that's funny. Your name is hilarious. Are you saying you want to meet me, Vishnu? Well, this is probably as close as we're ever going to get to meeting. What's the reason you made this channel? Joel asked. That's a really good question, Joel. So when I started making videos several years ago, my tagline was, I keep knocking my elbow on this. What you put in and around your body matters because I have healed from a lot of things, specifically autoimmune conditions. And since then, I had a hysterectomy to avoid getting cancer. But I just have found so much healing through paying attention to what I put in and around my body. And that's where it started. And that kind of led into gardening and homesteading. And now I want to talk a lot about being self sustainable, voting with our dollars. What we can do now to move forward as people that don't have a lot of monetary wealth, especially. I know I'm really all over the place. So then I like to make commentary on like social, sometimes political topics too. But that also, it does go hand in hand more with all the rest of it than you think. It really does. And it, I know a lot of people would probably call me a conspiracy theorist. I don't care. I consider myself a conspiracy realist because a lot of them are, but I don't think that I know like 100% anything for sure. Like with the Charlie Kirk stuff, I don't know what to believe. Like, in my opinion, like I don't even really trust Candace, and not that I trusted her or anybody 100%, but it's just so kind of weird to me some of the stuff that has been going on with that. And we'll look back on this 10, 20, 30 years from now and be like, wow, that was such a pivotal time in American history. You just don't see it like as it's happening. User, sorry to hear that. I find myself someone to settle down with almost every weekend. Well, be safe, user. Tim says, I'm doing well tonight. I'm feeling better now. Good, Tim. I hope that you have a great weekend. Happy Diwali. Oh, is that? I thought that that wasn't until like the 20 something, but happy Diwali. Because I was looking at the calendar at these appointments and I clicked on the thing, like, what is that? And it said Diwali. Bertha, she is really nice though. Bertha said, I would have joined earlier, but I was watching some insane crazy lady who plays with scary dolls live. It was kind of entertaining, not gonna lie. That sounds funny. Unless she's doing voodoo or something. I don't know. I wouldn't want to. I'm doing well, Charlie. How are you? Ricky, I'm 38 years old. Thank you, Homer. I hope you have a great weekend. Yeah, so there was somebody when I made the comment on somebody's video, where they're just like, oh, like it's like weekly. Somebody's, oh, if you settle down young, you're not gonna be as smart. Like they don't use the word smart. See, there I go being stupid. And I'm like, I do understand, like I said, I think it's the fatigue, and I think it shows what hard labor being a caretaker, being a homemaker is, especially if that's thrown at you on top of working full time. And I've said this before, like when people say that stay-at-home moms should be paid, I mean, yeah, it would be great if the government paid us, but like I know that's never going to happen. I don't think your husband should be paying you. That's another new sentiment. It's like, oh my gosh, talk about like making things as hard as possible and even more unattainable as possible. A lot of people are like telling these young women, if you do stay at home, only do it for a man who can like put in. I do get, once again, I get the sentiment, but like there's a scary message that's going around that really is like another thing I want to talk about, how wealthy, how people are being made to feel like they can't have kids unless they're wealthy. With the wage disparity, with the wealth gap, the way that it is getting to the point where we're all gonna be just like poor, poor. Hey, Jesus, you're right. Capitalism, exactly. If That's what the root of the problem is. Been with my wife for 22 years. We met in our teens. People went to edit until late zeros and 30s to I think you meant 20s and 30s to settle down and find people with as much baggage as each other, and they can't carry either load. Dr. Doodledge said, "Oh, good way to say that." Yes, and okay, so I started to say this earlier. A lot of people would bring up this like statistic talking about the number of previous, and this is actual partners, how it affects you in your marriage. And there's only been one larger study that included the men. Most of the time, there's been like a handful of them over the last 20, 30 years. And that's always just focusing on women, isn't the double standard is so real, even when it comes to like clinical studies and these sociology, like, uh, hmm. And they actually found that like ideally you don't have zero. I think it was two, like two to three even. There's like the sweet spot where like you've been with a few people before them, but you haven't been with several. And that for men and women. It was true for the men too. No, men are happier. And I think it's like, once again, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. We go around, that's one reason why I'm sorry, women are so horrible, and all the ways that they're horrible. All the ways women can be so horrible and narcissistic and um mood swingy and stuff. It's like we were literally taught like it's okay. That's like the way, that's just the way it is. And it's not okay. If you wouldn't want your husband to treat you like that or be like that to you, like it's not okay for you to do it back to him. So, um, so yeah, that study where the men were included, yeah, I want to say it was like 2 to 3. I made a TikTok video about it. I bet I still have that video on my phone. But yeah, once again, when they actually studied men, they found the same thing was true with men as with women. Yeah, ideally, you don't have several partners before you get into a marriage. But if you do, that's okay. Especially if you are aware of it and you're not gonna, I mean, like, I think people who are monogamous know from an early age. Like I've always been so loyal and like such a one man woman, even when I was 14 years old. And like my husband said he was the same way too. Like he's just always like if you start off being like super promiscuous, I could understand how that might carry into your adulthood, and oh gosh, there was this video where this girl was like 21 years old on a first date telling this man that she had been with 30 people. And he was like, I don't think we can continue this date. And I didn't blame him for that. But what was so striking was how it was just like she was telling him what she ate for dinner, like she had no shame. It would be different. I mean, she's so young. It just, oh gosh. And that's the thing. I don't want women to feel, you have to feel the shame yourself. I'm not going to give it to you. I'm not going to put the shame on you. I made my own mistakes when I was younger, but that's one thing that's getting lost in wanting to be better for a good man, having a man that you look up to. Like I look up to my husband. He inspires me to be a better person in a lot of ways. Like, oh, it's so sad to me that women would rather choose to just like sleep around and risk everything that comes with sleeping around. And that's what like people say women are the gateway, gatekeepers to sex. That not the gateway. They're the gatekeepers to life. Okay. We decide if we give birth, we have a baby or not. Like you are the gatekeeper of your own body as a man. We need to quit telling young men that too. Like women are the gatekeepers and like like that complete double standard of like men can sleep around. Like no, no. um Absolutely ridiculous. I don't see how any man can take himself seriously sitting there and like talking about how he did it himself too, but that's okay and not be like disgusted with yourself. I really don't. And I do think that we are connected, like, energetically once you make that tie with somebody, and there's, like, serious implications. I hate to say that. I do, I hate to say that, but I don't think that we're told the truth. I think that certain people in certain places of power probably even know things. Men and women are not the same. Sorry, Mike said. Okay, Mike, I never said that they were the same. I'm saying when it comes to basic human decency and that put each other in each other, put yourself in the other person's shoes. Men and women are definitely not the same, and we are complementary in nature. I had 4 ladies I was going with, Lou 72 said. Wow, that would be too much for me to keep up with. SJN said, "I sound like your ex-wife." Well, I'm sorry, that's probably not a good thing if you're still in here. P World Mom, my bad, didn't know you were married. Yes, I've been married for 15 years. Do you consider having another child at your age? P World, I had a hysterectomy, so I can't, but I would. I mean, in I don't think that women like absolutely should never have children over the age of 35, but we do need to be honest with women. And it's the same thing with men's sperm. They're finding out like ideally the egg and the sperm are younger than 35, ideally, but there's still plenty of healthy women out there, having babies later in life. And my mom's dad was the only child his parents had in their 40s after trying for so long. And he was a twin, and his twin sister passed. She had several miscarriages, so I always think about her, like, she was, like, 43, 44 when she had him, her only child. They tried and she was a midwife for a long time, so she was helping other women have their babies, trying to have her own, and I just think that, God God should decide when certain things like that happen. I know that's easy for me to say as a woman that got to have her babies. It's such a hard topic. Like, I don't ever wanna I almost should put a disclaimer, like, I don't ever want women who are child free, not by choice, to like stumble upon my content and feel horrible about themselves because I'm talking about I want to be an example for people on the same path. Like, I don't ever want to like make a woman feel like she's less than a woman. Oh, like I was saying, it's just we're in constant competition. Even as a homeschooling mom, as homeschoolers, we do it to ourselves with homeschooling. I was talking about this lady that would like post pictures of her schedule showing off because she was great. She did an amazing job taking her kids all over the freaking place. But, you know, um, Mark said, I will say, as far as narcissistic traits, yes, women and men are honestly a lot more similar than everyone likes to act. Both genders have bad habits. And so that on that are taught growing up. Yes, Mark. Yes. Thank you, silly. Luce, I like to think I'm smart. I think everybody is smart about something, like we all have something to offer people. We all know more about something that, yeah, Mr. Carey, I've never I lost like 35 subscribers today, and I'm not even concerned about it. It had to have been like a YouTube sweep thing because I've never lost that many subscribers. And I was like, I wanted to go live anyway, but it kind of prompted me to go live. And like, I'm not going to celebrate 2000 until I'm at like 2050 because I have such a big mouth and I get it. I every time I unsubscribe from somebody, I think about like I'm this person to somebody else. Like I cause somebody to hit the unsubscribe button, is something I say. But yeah, I'd really like to just drive it home that like I think that we should just be encouraging people to follow their own life paths. And some people are going to want to settle down in their 20s. And something I haven't said that I wanted to say, it's interesting to me how, okay, I did say this. We seem to be less ready. And you hear like these eloquent letters a 17-year-old wrote when he was in war, sending back to his lover, and like World War II, how those people sounded compared to now. I forget who said that, but I was like, "Oh my gosh, you're right." I've said the same thing about people use these recordings from the early 1900s and the way that people spoke, and it's like everybody sounded so much more intelligent. We're all getting dumbed down. We are all lacking in our attention spans, like, uh, my light falls over. And yeah, so that has to play into our interpersonal relationships being affected negatively, right? Like, it has to. And that's one thing, like, my husband's put in a lot of effort, and, like, so have I, but, like, I think what makes him stand apart from a lot of men that haven't been in long-term marriages and when their wives give up and divorce, and I brought this up a lot, I think this is a hormonal thing, not to make excuses for women, but it's like we need to have these conversations so, like, you can be aware of it, because if you're aware as a woman heading into your 40s, a lot of women trash their families, like, just on a whim almost it seems like, and, like, why is that? And maybe if you know that, that's what I'm doing to myself, after this major surgery, I went through a lot, and I still have my ovaries, but still, and thank goodness for all the women who have came before me and decided to post stuff about it on the internet, because there's so many things my surgeon, I'm forever grateful for her, but there's so many things she didn't tell me that I found out about because of women on Reddit, and I'm so thankful, that's the kind of thing we need to cultivate, when it comes to being pregnant, giving birth, which it is more so now. Like people are more open with the internet and everything, which is great. But no, SJN, no. I do vape. I used to smoke, but I don't. It just doesn't affect me. Like, I swear I could like smoke really good green and I don't feel it at all. It's weird. I feel like the gas station vapes as much as the actual stuff. So, I was working in a factory for a while. It's like I didn't want to risk getting rug tested. Being an attention-seeking imbecile is celebrated these days. Trolika Devi said, "Yes, yes." And I know I could come off as that having a YouTube channel. I get that is a form of social media, but it really it like Facebook, Instagram, all those forms of social media is Okay, let's talk about this a little bit more. Not only is that warping women's brains, but this adult media, like I was floored. The shoe on head video. Oh my gosh, these women are fantasizing about bestiality. They're not calling it bestiality. It's bestiality. It's these demons and like the illustrations, like they're not human, like oh, and like there was a convention, and I guess there was. I'm sorry, I misconstrued who it was. It was an author, I believe. It was a male, okay? A male at this convention, and he was being sexually assaulted by all these women. And he like had a panic attack over it. Eh, once again, they should have went to jail that night. We need to like seriously. I think they got all weird with a woman too. Like it's just that's so wrong. And I think that that is. I said it before, it's goofy. I'm sorry if you're a woman that gets into that. I'm sorry. I really do feel like I don't want to sit here and talk about my intimate life because I feel like that's not proper, but it is an important part of a long-term marriage. And that is like something that it's like it's hard to deny is a common issue, what they call like a dead bedroom. But man, I couldn't imagine spending any of my energy fantasizing and like the like some okay, so I'm guessing, and I don't mean this as a dig. I know this is gonna sound like I'm trying to be a bitch, but like I'm guessing a lot of these women aren't married, right? But any of these women that are married, all that time and energy you're spending on your book, and like I think you should be with your husband. Like, not to say you can't ever do anything all on your own, but it's just so weird the amount of time people are investing. It's like I think women are so okay, babe. I think women are so insecure that like it's their way of escaping the BBLs, the Instagram models, the girls that don't even look like what they are putting the images out. They don't even look like themselves. Their way of escaping that complete is to like forego the actual intimate relationship with a man. He would rather have you than those Instagram models most of the time. He'd rather have you. He'd be much more satisfied with you anyway. And like, and then you're gonna like delve into this fantasy world. I was wrong. I thought that people that brought up women reading the slutty novels were like being goofy. Oh my gosh. Yeah. We have issues. We have like deep-seated issues, and the internet's only like bringing them to light and exasperating them. It's not like helping in the ways that it could be. Okay, I need to go now because I have to take my dog. I know, babe. And I'll hop back on here if you guys want to talk about like random stuff. I want to talk to you about Taylor Swift most of all. Okay? I'll be back on soon. Um, love you guys. Bye.